The slap landed before the sentence finished. A clean sound, sharp, public. My earring skidded across the marble floor like something severed. 30 people went quiet. My mother stared at the keys in my hand as if they already belonged to my sister. My father's palm hovered in the air, trembling, righteous. "Family comes first," he said, loud enough to bruise me again. I looked at my sister, unemployed, smiling. She didn't reach for the keys. She waited for me to break. I didn't. I walked out. The hallway smelled like expensive flowers and old obedience. I took out my phone, thumb steady, pulse calm. One press, a single button I'd prepared months ago, back when I still believed blood meant loyalty. I sat in my car and watched the entrance. 30 minutes later, a woman entered the hall. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I used to believe love was a contract you didn't need to read, family dinners, shared laughter, promises that didn't need witnesses. I built my life quietly, studied harder, worked longer, bought the penthouse with my name alone on the deed. When my parents bragged about it, they said, "Our daughter." When my sister needed money, they said, "You don't need it." I let it slide. I always did. The first crack showed up as a joke. "She's alone up there, all that space wasted." They laughed. I smiled. Then came the hints. "Your sister's struggling. You could help her get back on her feet. Keys are just keys." I started noticing patterns, conversations that stopped when I entered, texts that arrived late and felt rehearsed, a casual question from my father about whether my mortgage was fully paid, my mother asking too sweetly if I'd ever considered adding family to the property documents. I didn't confront them. I listened. The proof arrived by accident. My sister's phone buzzed while she was showering at my place. A message preview lit the screen. "Once the keys are in your hand, we'll handle the paperwork." Paperwork doesn't happen after keys. Paperwork happens before betrayal. That night, I stopped being their daughter. I became a planner. I didn't cry. I audited. I pulled my files, property deed, trust documents, emails, bank statements. I hired a lawyer through a shell consultation. No names, no rumors. I learned what consent looked like in writing. I learned how pressure invalidated transfers. I learned how quickly generosity could be reclassified as coercion. I documented everything, every hint, every message, every family meeting. Then I waited. The party was their stage. They wanted witnesses. They wanted compliance wrapped in shame. When my mother demanded the keys in front of everyone, I felt the symmetry click into place. When my father raised his hand, I felt relief. Violence clarifies intent. The slap wasn't an ending. It was evidence. In the car, I didn't shake. I didn't sob. I watched the doors. The woman who entered 30 minutes later wasn't dramatic. She wore a gray blazer and carried a leather folder. She moved with the confidence of someone who doesn't need permission. Inside, I heard later, she asked for my parents by full legal names. Not auntie, not uncle. Full names sound different in a crowded room. She introduced herself as a court-appointed process server. She served papers outlining an emergency injunction, no transfer of property, no access to my residence, no coercion under threat or force. Attached were copies of recorded messages, screenshots, a medical report noting assault, a notice of investigation into attempted fraudulent conveyance. My sister laughed, apparently, until she read her name. My father argued until he saw the word battery. My mother cried until the woman explained that tears didn't change timestamps. Guests left early, quietly. The kind of quiet that stains reputations. I returned when the room was half empty. I picked up my earring from the floor. My father tried to speak. I raised a finger. He stopped. That felt new. "I loved you," I said, not loud, not soft. "I still do. That's why I didn't destroy you. I corrected you." My sister stared at me like I'd become fluent in a language she didn't know. "Where am I supposed to go?" she asked. "Anywhere that isn't mine," I said. The woman in gray nodded once, professional, finished. She left behind silence and paper. Weeks later, the investigation closed, no charges filed, warnings issued, records created. My parents learned the weight of documents. My sister learned the cost of entitlement. I changed the locks. I changed my number. I kept my name. I didn't win by screaming. I won by waiting. Now, when I think of that slap, I don't feel pain. I feel precision. The exact moment they underestimated me. The exact second I stopped needing their approval. Justice isn't loud. It enters the room calmly, on time, holding a folder. And when it leaves, only one person still has the keys.